Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere. There's going to be a clip or a live version of this happening. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Hopefully, you all are doing great out there, having a good time, and that you are living life to the fullest. That's what it should be about. And V8 Energy Drink, you should be my sponsor. So hit me up, V8 Energy Drink. Peach mango only. The other ones taste like shit. All right. So today's title is Exhaustion. We're past the tired stage. We're in the exhaustion stage. You ever get those days where you're running on fumes? That's me today. Been go, go, go all weekend for the most part. But welcome in, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And you're looking at some of my work, what I do. Plus the stuff behind me. Bum, bum, bum. That's just a little bit of the stuff. All right. So, exhaustion. Working yourself to the point of just dropping, passing out whenever you get to bed. Don't even want to put on a TV, anything like that. Just crawl in bed and you're just out, done. I was out working on the chicken coop pretty much all day long yesterday after I tore through my office looking for some comic books that are being elusive right now. And I found a few that I was looking for, but I didn't find the majority of what I was looking for that I thought I had. Because I keep a running list of what I need, what I've got. And it's not just on my main title, which is Uncanny X-Men, but it also is on a few other titles that I've got. Just in case I find them running loose in the wild out there, all that good stuff. But yeah, no, then I started putting the office back together, making sure everything's put away, getting some declutterization going, getting rid of shit that I don't need. And so, yeah. Then you run across some things that you end up finding. An old piece of artwork. Couldn't even tell you what year I did this one. It was probably right around the same time Witchblade came out. And did that little glove. I drew that little baby up based off of Witchblade right there. Good morning, Casey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. One of my designs. This is actually a watercolor, a two-piece watercolor. It had Boba Fett on it as well. And so whenever you see the Boba Fett that's got the watercolor behind, it's off the same one. It had the stormtroopers going in between the two. Dun, dun, dun. Darth on one side, Boba on the other. It was a big piece. It wasn't the massive 18 by 24 piece, but it was close. It was getting close. But yeah, today is called Exhaustion. Like I said, was working on the office first because it was like I've got no room because I pulled. Thank you, Quincy. Thank you. I pulled out every comic book box that's in this closet sitting right next to me, and what I say that's like 28, almost 30 comic book boxes that I pulled out, and most of them are the long boxes. I've got probably 6 or 8 that are the short boxes, not the short bus. Don't forget to like, share, and follow as you get here so other people can follow our little fandom here of artwork and horror movies and sci-fi movies that we talk about and all kinds of good stuff that we talk about. So I had comic book boxes stacked up almost to the ceiling in here. And just looking for the comic books that I couldn't find because I know that I'd seen them, I'd had them, or I wouldn't have marked them off my list at the time. I found, like I said, I found a few that I was looking for, and then I found some other cool stuff that I was looking for, or not looking for, but just as I'm running through, it's like, oh yeah, I remember this. Oh yeah, because you don't look at them every day. and I need to be in some form, fashion, or another, um, just to keep them all fresh. And then I need another short box so that I can still separate out some of my X-Men comic books so that they're not so cram packed tight in there. The only reason I like them being so tight is that it keeps their edges from rolling in the comic book bag over time. Because if they're offset with each other, the edge will start matching the other bag. So then that has right there, boom, right there. Um, all right. And so the the whole aspect was I was looking for comic books that I couldn't find. So then I've got a couple of people that I'm getting some from, and so from there, it's like, okay, so now I'm going to have most of my end run taken care of. And from there, it's going to be, well, then I can start chipping away at the others, the 300s, the 200s, the 100s. And then I can start working on the single digits and the double digits from 1 to 100, basically. I have quite a few. I've got a comprehensive run from 72 all the way up to 120 right there. And it's just like once you start getting into those single digits and the teens and things like that, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and 70s, and 80s, those are the ones that are more expensive because they are still from the 60s, 1963, down to, say, 1975, 76, somewhere in that range. And that's where your money starts to come into play. Now, you can find shitty copies of pretty much anything out there that people are still charging an arm and a leg for. And I'm going to be picky with what I get. And so, there'll be a few comic book shops that I'll hit up later on and get what I need to fill in the gaps that I've got. The oldest one I've got is my, of course, giant size X Men #1, which is very highly sought after. Now, in the previous collection, I did have #1. That was the most I'd ever spent on a comic book, and now it's gone because I was an idiot. And I used it as a down payment for a house I no longer live in, and for a woman I'm no longer married to. You know, and so that's on me. That's on me. Well, we were out and about. Picked the girlfriend up from work yesterday, and so we didn't go immediately home. We went to Home Depot first. And hello, Roy. By the time you show up, at least you're not 40 minutes late today. You're only 9 minutes late today. So we went to Home Depot and picked up some screws. And then we went to Treasures. It's a local antique spot here. That's a huge spot. One of the biggest in town for Fort Smith area. And walked it over. Didn't find anything really cool. I mean, they had some cool stuff, but nothing that jumped out and said, "Hey, take me home." You know, I'm waiting for that day when one of those haunted items that's in there does that. Moves or something. Because once we get to a certain spot in that antique store, you just get this feeling, this presence, and it's like, okay, something is right here. Don't know if it's the building, don't know if it's one of the items that this person is trying to sell on both sides of the booth or both sides of the walkway because there's a booth on each side, and just don't know which one it is yet. It's there and it's been there because a lot of the things that are still in that area have been there since we've gotten the feeling. If that makes any sense. So there is a haunted item there. I just don't know which one it is yet. I'm about ready to talk to the owners and be like, hey, Can we do a ghost hunt in here? Some night. You guys can be present, or one of your people can be present. You know, and you've got cameras everywhere anyway. So, you know, congratulations, Frost. Always a fun time. We also went to Atwoods the other day and picked up some more geese. So we've got some more baby geese to go with our other ones. And while there, found some cool stuff to go with the finds that we had the other day. FINDS, not FINES. And found these little guys from 1997, Burger King. 1997 Burger King Universal Monsters. You're first up, you've got Frankenstein with a clear, practically see-through head and hands. Bum bum bum. And since I'm a horror buff, these couldn't just stay there, you know. Especially at $4 a piece, they couldn't stay there. This one's in really good condition for being out of its bag that they had them in. Well, I guess I had them in a bag. I don't know. All the ones that I've seen online, they're all loose, so I don't know if they came in a bag or not. But Mr. Frankenstein, he is now encapsulated in plastic. Thanks for the gifts out there. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. And this one's a little bit rougher, but it is the Wolfman. Bum, bum, bum. Excuse me. As you can see on his hands, they're a little bit worn from use and playing with. Someone played with him lovingly. Because he's still in great condition, just his hands are a little bit worn right there. And so neither one of those could stay, right there, all alone, in a cold, cruel antique store. So they got to come home with me. Because again, we love horror around here, if you couldn't tell. Um, and I'm really hoping that Maribel will set off that cat ball on her head, you know, on one of these lives eventually. So we can all be like, hey, look, the cat ball's going off right there. Right there. And again, if you don't know what a cat ball is and you don't ghost hunt or anything like that, this is a cat ball. Right here. Whenever it gets moved, it lights up like that. I had to turn it on for you to show you what it does. You can see the lights going on and off. And in a dark room, this light is like setting off a whole light strobe in on of itself. And you can spot it from, you know, 4 rooms away, if you got a clear shot. Now, if not, hopefully you've got a camera rolling all the time for your ghost hunt and things like that. So, hot breath, of course. We all grow when we grow. But now, I'm going to pick up more materials, and I've got a friend who has the shed that I need to tear down for the remainder of the material for my chicken coop to get it completely sealed. I've got 2 sides completely sealed in tin now. And I've got like the other two are, one of them's halfway sealed for the most part because I've got a full sheet of tin going front to back. And so I need the upper portion done. And then from there, I've got the back section to do. But for the most part, it is pretty Fort Knox secure. The door even has tin going down it from the glass section, the window section of the door. Um, the open window up front is pretty secure with the chicken wire plus the tin going around the frame edge, all that good stuff. Now it's not completely pretty, but it's functional, so it doesn't have to be pretty. Now once I go through and seal the edges a little more with some caulking, you know, Just like there's a thing going out there. It's like a meme, but it's one of those voice ones where the woman's like, "Yeah, I didn't. When I went into Home Depot or the lumber store, I never pronounced a K so hard in my life. Whenever I was looking for, you know, the call king, you know." And so from there, I'm gonna seal up those edges, and then might give it a little paint job. I'm not sure. Any gold eggs? Absolutely. We've got some geese that are laying golden eggs on a regular basis, and so that's our moneymaker right there. And 24 karat gold eggs coming out on a regular basis. It's pretty amazing, and they're all weighed. They all come in at about 2 pounds worth of gold that they lay. So it's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. We're gonna have Fort Knox here in a little while. For us, we just line our floors with it after we melt it down. We make sheets out of it, make tile sheets out of it, and then we lay it down on our floor as our tile. Because that's all money is. Over here. I'd rather still use the barter system. Thanks for the likes. We're at 9.7 thousand likes. That puts us in the popular live category, which is always fun and exciting, especially whenever you got creators out there that are doing a lot better than I am when it comes to views and things like that. But that's okay. We still get up there in the views. We get up to close to 1,000 views by the time it's all said and done. Sometimes on a good day we get closer to 3,000 views, and that's after the show is aired. That people go and find the live show and watch it. So that's pretty cool, pretty exciting. So we're still in the process of putting this office back together. It is not completely back together yet. I still got some declutterization to do. Things going back to where they need to go. And my chair is so squeaky, it's not even funny. But over time, that happens. Even with enough lithium grease sprayed on it, it still doesn't, keep it from squeaking over time. But it is an old chair. But it's been a good chair. It's at least 5 years old, judging from the armrests on it that are pretty dilapidated. So there you go. So yeah, the next X amount of days probably be tearing down some more uh, sheds and finding material to bring home to finish up the coop with, and then the yard cleanup happens, which means I've got some burn pits to burn off because they've been sitting there for about a year now, like that, and then we're getting rid of one completely, the biggest one in the back, which is right in the middle of the yard. So we're going to get rid of that one. And then from there, we'll just have the main one up here closer to the house. And we'll have our bonfires, if you will, out there. It's not really bonfires because I'm not going to make them that big. I mean, I used to. We used to have some big ones back there. I mean, I've still got it. Like I said, I've got one that I've got to burn off. It's my 20 by 20 fire pit. And that's going to be exciting when it goes up in flames right there. So yeah. So how are y'all doing? Really? How are you guys doing? I'm exhausted, like I said. My body's sore from the crystal mine on Friday. Saturday was kind of a recoup day. We did some cleanup, laundry. Sunday, she was back to work. And then we went to Atwoods. I'm pretty sure Atwoods is when we went. Was Sunday. No, had to have been Saturday. Saturday was when we went to Atwoods. Because yesterday we went to Treasures and Home Depot. So there you go. But yeah, we went to first we went to Atwoods, and then we went to the Midland antique store there, right by Atwoods, because it's in the same parking lot, just in a little strip building right there. And they own that whole, or no, don't own it. They rent that whole building out. But they're a big one too, not as big as Treasures. So, and that's where I found, like I said, the Universal Monsters from 1997 Burger King kids meal. And now I need to find the other ones. I don't know what else is. I guess Dracula's probably in there. Creatures in there, possibly. Maybe the Mummy. I don't know. I'll have to go look. Go look. Yeah, it's about time you are on the right days for the live show, or being here for the whole show. Maybe. I mean, you've already missed 9 minutes of it, almost 10 minutes of it by the time you popped on. But better late than never. Um, but yeah, so we're exhausted. I mean, I know she's tired. I'm tired, and then the next thing that's going to be happening is be ripping her car apart again. We picked up some tires for her to put on her car again, and we're try and do her front end and see what's wrong with it because it's wearing out her tires. So we've already replaced the entire front end, and so there's just something wrong somewhere. We can't figure out what it is yet. And then we'll be doing my truck the same way, replacing the entire front end there as well. Um, so I've got it sitting behind my seat, and then it looking like a man. Um, we're going to be getting some parts in for her motorcycle, for her carburetor, and then I'll be getting my parts in for my carburetor, so we can get our motorcycles up and running. Now mine runs, it just leaks gas everywhere, so I've got to get the kit and all that stuff. But I got hers first. It should be coming in today, actually, as well as more V8 energy drink. Peach Mango, be my sponsor. Bum bum bum. People, reach out to V8 Energy. Tell them, hey, be this guy's sponsor, so I don't have to buy the shit anymore. So they can just send it to me. That's what sponsorship does. They send you stuff. All right, and if you want to be my sponsor out there for real, uh, for the artwork and conventions and things like that, which I will be getting back into, I just don't know when yet, because I'm still getting promotional materials together, trying to figure out how my game plan is. I want to be for comic book conventions in the future. Um, oh, I've got my septic tank to take care of. I'm going to be calling the guy today, see when he can schedule to come out and check it over, clean it, all that goody good gross stuff, stuff that you can't do yourself because you can't be like Griswold's cousin, brother, or whatever it is, uncle or cousin or whatever he is, out there in your fuzzy hat, your bathrobe with your shooter's full, dumping it down the drain, the sewage grate, all that good stuff. I wish you could, but you can't. That's illegal. That's illegal. We do not condone illegal activities. Um, then I got to figure out what the hell's wrong with my 3D printer so that the resin stops sticking like it has been on pretty much everything on a regular basis. So I gotta do some more research on that. And as Roy says, yep, good stuff, buddy. And yep, it is good stuff. It is the best flavor that they've got because, like I said, the rest of it tastes like chemical trash, chemical shit. and it has a nasty aftertaste on the other ones. And they've got like three other flavors, but this is the only one I found that tastes pretty much natural um, when it comes to the flavors. And it's not putting you through that sugar high like you get from your Monsters, Red Bulls, Bang, Ghost. List goes on and on. Because there's only what 83 milligrams of caffeine in this thing, I think. 11 grams of sugar. Trying to find where it says the caffeine content. I don't know. It's on here somewhere. I'm blind. It's in there somewhere. I don't know. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Especially if you don't want to be drinking a whole bunch of sodas or pops, depending on which part of the country you're from, or soft drink. Because everybody says it different everywhere you go. Doesn't matter. Us Southerners say it all kinds of different. And what is your preference when it comes to the drink of choice? When it comes to your sodas or your pops or your soft drink or your fountain drink? A little bit more sophisticated for your palate. A little soft drink for my glass, please. And which soft drink would you like today? Coffee and tea for me. Now, when you drink your tea, does your pinky automatically go out? I'm just asking. You know. Well, thank you for your service, Ashley. I was Army. I was National Guard, but I was actually active duty Army pretty much my entire tour of my my existence. Horse hairbrush, dusting off my piece of artwork over here. But thank you for your service. So when you're drinking your tea, your finger doesn't do this automatically. That's just my envision of people drinking tea because you see it so much, and even in coffee shops and things like that. Like I say coffee shops, I mean Dunkin' Donuts because I don't go to coffee shops. I literally see it. People will have their styrofoam kit, and they'll be like, mm. It's just like, why is your pinky going out? Is your cup hot? I mean, I don't understand it. What is that etiquette with the pinky going out? Because I see it with men, women, no children yet, but that pinky goes out whenever they drink. What is that etiquette? I mean, I just don't know. I'm an uneducated swine over here. I don't know what that finger pointing means. Are you pointing at me, son? What does it mean? What does it mean if your pinky goes out when you're drinking? Pretending to be intellectual. It's girly. Okay. Well, I mean, I see it, like I said, I see it for men and women alike whenever they have their cup, all that good stuff. And it's just weird to me. I just don't understand it. Because my pinky never wants to go out when I want to hold the fucker, you know. Hold it. Don't. Ooh, it just gravitates away from the glass. I mean, what? I mean, I don't understand. I really don't. You know. And you see it you see it portrayed a lot more in movies than you do in real life. But I even see some people on TikTok or Facebook Reels and things like that are drinking, and I don't know if they're doing it consciously or what, but you can see that pinky, raise up from the cup. And it's just like, why, what? Who invented that? Who started that? I mean, I know it was back in Victorian era, but when was the first time the pinky pointing happened? Somebody do some research on that. Maybe I'll do some research on that. I don't know. Maybe I won't. I don't really care, but it's just always been interesting and weird to me. to see that going on and happening. So, um, but yeah, no. Oh man, so much to do with so little time. That's the sad part. Yeah, we get so much time in a day, you know. Uh, that's not. I'm not even going there, Roy. I'm not even going there, Roy. Um, ain't nobody want to know about your dark side. And if you got off of it every now and then, it wouldn't be so dark down there. All right. Oh, so as I'm cleaning, I'm finding stuff that's like, oh yeah, I need to continue on with this. Like my mom's Grogu piece that I printed out over there, and the Batman Who Laughs, all that good stuff. I gotta I gotta pare this down a little bit, shave this down just a little bit on this base. It's the Batman Who Laughs base because this is a little too big, so I've got to shave this down a little bit and go from there with it. So I've got the piece sitting over there, and it needs to be painted up and all that goody good stuff. So, but yeah, no, it's just there's so much to do and so little time, and I know we all get the same amount of time in a day, and I've got so much artwork to get done. Um, I missed the owner's phone call on this one that I'm working on here. Plus, I've got um, a massive piece to do over here for a Chisholm piece, and if you know what that is, it's an old John Wayne movie that they're doing for their dad. Then I've got another barn to take down for materials, which I'll be using on this Chisholm piece as the frame. Um, Not to mentioning the yard cleanup that's getting ready to start happening. It's just one thing after another. And it's just like this is where the balance comes in from that we talked about from a previous show. 2 shows ago, I think. Maybe 3. I'm trying to think. It's whenever I made my cryptic announcement on my Facebook post, and people were trying to figure out what the hell I was doing because they were like, "Oh, you're getting married. Oh, you're breaking up. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that." Like, no, just like the whole speculation. Whenever in 2025, at the end of 2024, whenever I started posting cryptic messages about the business, and that's when my mom started freaking out. Don't quit your artwork. Like, mom, just give it a little bit of time, and you'll understand what all's going on. That's whenever I shut down my other business and opened up 412 Productions under a whole new moniker. And things have been much better since under this little guy. This is my official certificates of authenticity right there. Some nice, bright, and shiny stickers that go on the artwork. Not to mention my thank you for purchasing a one-of-one art piece from 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. With it, address on there, an email address that you can get in touch with me for more artwork. All that good stuff. But you have to not work yourself to exhaustion because that can affect a lot of things too. Health, for one, especially if you're not getting enough sleep. 3, 4 hours of sleep a night, maybe less some nights. And but that's just me. How I've been most of my life. A little bit of I think that to my grandfather because we used to stay up late whenever we were there, but then he would always go to bed at a specific time. And us being the kids we were, my cousin and I, when we stayed down there, and I was there most of the time, more than my cousin was. We would stay up till 11, 12 at night, sometimes a little bit later, and then we were up by 4 because hey, we're about to go fishing. You know, so we would always be up and about around the 4 o'clock time frame. And me now, I could go to bed at, say, 10 o'clock and be up by midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and can't fall back to sleep. And so a little bit of that I have to give to my grandfather. But for the most part, it's just my body saying, "Hey, nope, we got things to do." But yeah, there's tons of stuff that's got to be done, got to be taken care of. And as you're looking around at things, it's just like this has got to go. We got to start selling this stuff off because, again, like we talked about before, you can't take it with you. Now there are people that have rented out, like a or bought, not rented, um, a semi truck trailer. There's people that have bought shipping containers and they've put all their earthly possessions inside of it and had it buried with them as a final act of defiance to their family or whatever. Because, well, you guys were shits to me, so you don't get anything. You know, it's kind of like the 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 pyramids that the pharaohs were locked in with their servants, and unfortunately, their servants were still alive when they got sealed in. So, you know, sucks to be that guy. And the animals locked inside with them too, so that they could have them and take them to the afterlife. Yeah, no, I'll just sell my stuff. I won't bury it with me. And then we were talking the other yesterday. The girlfriend and I, it's just like, well, we can always just get one of my mom's sheds and bring it back here, just with all the stuff in it too. You know, because she's wanting a book nook space for herself, basically, she shed, if you will, and she wants to turn it into her reading corner for the most part. Nope, you sure don't. You sure don't. You don't see a U-Haul behind a hearse. And there's another thing right there. A lot of people have a whole thing with the hearse. Is it hearse or Hearst? With a T, because they're like, that's not how it's pronounced. It's not pronounced Hearst. It's pronounced hearse. And it's just like, well, go look it up. Go look it up. That's how. And some people will pronounce that hard T at the end, but there is no. It is a silent T, not a hard T, and no pinky T. And so we have one that's a party bus here in Fort Smith, with the party place. They've got it all brightly painted, and I can't remember the exact saying that's on it. Yeah, Matt, it's a tragedy. He's had issues most of his life, with addiction and things like that. And yeah, Chris, it's a tragic thing for him to have taken his own life. And we do talk about that type of stuff here as well. But yeah, I grew up, or not grew up. I started watching the Alaskan Bush people, probably 4 years ago. Watched all the episodes. Them going to. Oh, good God! Now we're under a 10-minute restriction because we're talking about mental health. TikTok, mental health is something that needs to be talked about. Mm, Why restricted for audiences? For some audiences, because it's self harm. No, it's not self harm. Exactly. Mental health should be talked about regularly. And I know there's other channels that talk about it regularly and they don't get a restriction. But I say one thing about Matt and his mental health issues, and boom, we have a restriction. Yeah, they found him, and he was not alive. So, and yeah, that's two things we don't talk about here. We don't talk about religion or politics here. Um, because once you start opening up that can of worms, people start losing their damn minds over the whole thing. So now we've got two restrictions. We're not going out to the masses unless you guys share this out there. But yeah, no, Matt was found, and exactly, no Trump, no Pope. And unfortunately, they found him a few days after he left the cryptic message. Oh no, don't worry about it. I get restrictions all the time because if it's not this restriction for talking about a worthwhile cause, because me being in the military and the whole 22 a day thing, meaning 22 vets a day take their life because of some form of mental illness that happens, PTSD, so on and so forth, depression, anxiety, and it's not just military, and I think that number is higher than that. I have a hotline going on my other channel over here, on my recording that I'm doing that goes out on Facebook and YouTube, that has the text or call 988 or the regular number 1-800-273-8255, which is a prevention hotline. And oh yeah, Memorial Day, absolutely, because I know the feeling of it all, you know. Um, and I know you, Chris, you don't know my story either, so because there was a 3 year stretch in there from 2008, 2009, 2010 that I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. My sister was killed by a drunk driver in 2008. She was in law enforcement, um, and so she did not survive. She was left in a vegetative coma, and all brain activity ceased. So we, as the family, including her son, had to make the decision, to pull the plug on her. And then in 2009, my son passed away, who had just joined the military after graduating high school. That was going to be a medic, was drilling with his unit for, a hot minute before he was going off to basic training, was killed in an ATV accident. And then in 2010, my grandfather, a father figure, passed away. Um, and he was part of the 45th Infantry, which I joined later on in life. I should have went out of high school, but I was 33 when I joined the infantry, the 45th, there in Shawnee, Oklahoma. And and then off the deployments, we lost one person in our deployment back in '06 to '07. And then the guys that went on several deployments after us, because I became a trainer and started helping train troops on what they would see when they got to Afghanistan or their country of origin. We lost probably another 5 or 6 guys on the next two deployments that I knew personally, you know. So, and then those that gave all, prior to me ever joining service, military service, for Memorial Day, absolutely. It brings out everything. It could bring out the death of a parent. It could bring out, so on and so forth. Brothers, sisters, you know. Well, the thing is, I can be an advocate for it all. If a parent loses a child, I can speak to them. If a sibling loses a brother or sister, I can speak to them. If you've lost a grandparent, I can speak to that. So it's just life lessons, and the pain is always there, and it always will be, because birthdays are coming up, just like June hits now, and that's when my son's anniversary is. June 16th is when he passed away, and then his birthday is July 8th. So boom, boom, you've got double memorials going on right there. I got you. I got you. Well, thanks for your service as well. And yeah, I mean, we all carry pain of some source, some form or another, you know, and then some carry different pains, you know, uh, illnesses and diseases and things like that throughout life as well. And it all needs to be addressed. And then whenever TikTok does shit like this that restricts things going out that could be beneficial to somebody that could be hurting right now, you know, my wife had a miscarriage a month into a 9 month rotation, and I had 8 months of agony until I was back. I'm sorry to hear that. So I can speak on that too, because we had 5 miscarriages before our youngest daughter, and this is my first marriage, um, stuck, you know. So she was a little miracle baby because one more miscarriage and the ex wife would have been considered a chronic miscarrier, and they would have had to gone in and clean out everything, you know. So, well, thank you, Casey. Yeah. So, so see, one is painful enough, but then if it keeps happening, it's even worse because what's wrong? What is the what's the diagnosis that's going on here? Why aren't they sticking? You know. So you wonder if it's something wrong with one of you two, or those type things. But it's just genetics. It's just what happens, unfortunately. And yeah, it's painful because whenever it does happen, a part of you just left. You know, and especially for her, you got to be super supportive of her, um, because I know it wrecked my first ex-wife's brain whenever it would happen, and it's gonna be gross, but the mucus plug that pops out, you know, that's what you're thinking it is, but that's not what it is, you know. So sorry of those that have never had one. It's a painful thing, all the way around. So, but yes, mental health is a topic that TikTok needs to fuck off about 100%. And again, I see other creators talk about it, and they don't get restrictions. Period. So I just don't understand their AI mentality when it comes to it. The trouble was she was able to drink, but I was in a dry country. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. No, it doesn't. No, but I mean, there are people that actually advocate for mental health awareness on this app. And I've never seen them get a restriction yet. But anytime I even mention it, that's why I have to say a prevention hotline or something like that. And I have to hem haw around the mental portion of it all. And I can't say the other word, the S word, um, because that definitely gets you a restriction because they think you're trying to do self harm. But no, we're trying to make an awareness of it all. It's not a joke. It's not this. It's not that. It's something that needs to be addressed more often out there because unfortunately, like Matt, you see it with celebrities. You see it with your friends. You see it, especially in the military. Um, we had our reunion back in May, and that's one thing we were talking about. We talked about a couple of people that we knew that had taken their own life. You know, excuse me. Um, and we hold a reunion once a year. And so from the last reunion to this reunion, I think it was two different people that had taken their life, you know, due to what was going on in their head. So, And then the AI summary discussing mental health issues and military experiences. Share your story. But yet, you give me a restriction. This is what I hate about AI and not having a physical moderator come and listen to the show because their AI knows best and not Father knows best. Oh, no, I 100% it doesn't make sense. And Blake Muck, hands up to you, brother. Um, Unfortunately, he is one gone too soon. Oh, absolutely. And if it's not complete entertainment value for the channel for TikTok and all that good stuff, where they're getting their monetized money that they give you and they're getting their cut. Um, Actually, we're at 31.3, so we're ahead of your numbers there, Casey. But again, I appreciate the likes, the shares, and the follows. And if you haven't followed me yet, and if you have followed me, just go to my profile and hit that bell icon up there, and you'll know when I go live and or post uh, whatever I post. Because most of the stuff I post is clips from my show. After it's said and done, I go through and put clips out there. And then I do post my artwork and what I do around here at the homestead. Because we have chickens, geese, ducks, pigs, cats, dogs living together. Mass hysteria. And if you know what line from movie that is, you're old. Uh, Cats and dogs living together. Mass hysteria. But yeah. But no, there's a lot of things that need to be addressed, especially with TikTok. You know, and you're out of here, Casey. Where are you going? We still got some time left. Have a good night, Chris. You're probably saying good night to him, but you stay safe out there too. And if you do have issues, you can hit me up in DMs and all that good stuff because I'll talk about this stuff, especially if it's going to help somebody out. I have no issues with it, because again, I can speak on all kinds of topics when it comes to that side of things. So I get it. I'll see you later. Casey, you have a good day, night, whatever it is out there. 5 o'clock in the morning. Sun comes up here in about 45 minutes or less. Starts peaking. And if you all are into the moon water, you better get it done now. I think tonight is the last full moon of the 3 moon cycle. And then it starts going back to the crescent and all of that good stuff. But if you do believe in the moon water and all that good stuff, get your jars ready and get them out under the moonlight. So there you go. But yeah, no, that's a topic that needs to be more addressed when it comes down to it. And you see the news articles and things like that, and you're going to see more news articles about Matt, and his cryptic message and all that good stuff that he gave out before he went and took his own life, you know. And for AI and TikTok to do what they do, which is squash that kind of a conversation, it's quite ridiculous, in my opinion. And because I know that touches a lot of people out there when it comes to that topic, the mental health side of things. But for them to automatically give you a restriction for talking about it, that's ridiculous, 100%. And I just don't understand their wanting to silence that type of talk, 100%. But they do it on a regular basis. Anytime I start talking about it, boom, done. You get cut off, you know. Jackie, welcome to the vibe over here. Welcome to the channel. Good to see your bright smiling face out there, as always. Thank you for the gift. Thank you for the gift. It's always a pleasure and helpful. That 7 cents will go back into the printing process of this type of stuff right here. Um, and artwork, for whenever I start getting back into the comic book conventions and things of that nature. How is it over in your side of the world? Tell us about it. How's the beach life? You beachcomber, you. If you don't follow Jackie, high vibes. Go check her out. She does some cool stuff on her channel. She's a cool person. I've known her for quite a while. Now we did lose touch there for a hot minute, but she's a cool person. Go check her out. Ready for a break from Florida already? Come on now. You're tapping the vein over there, literally. If you know, you know. I'm not gonna give all of her secrets out there, but awesome, awesome. You have to show them off, or you're already showing them off over there. Are they cool? Do they have a design on them, or is it just your typical blues and things like that? I love you, Jackie. You're awesome. They're cute. Well, they're always cute because you rock it pretty well with your videos and you know your all your fun vibes that you do over there. And I know you talk about some serious stuff on occasion, and but you still have a lot of fun. No matter what you're doing, and that's the good stuff. And I know you've been through a lot, just like I have. And it's just one of those things that I started a new job and ended up with 5 jobs. Awesome. Well, I mean that's a good experience to have. I mean, yeah, you're exhausted like I am right now because I have like the same as you, but it's all stuff here, you know. Um, because taking care of chickens and birds, I think we've got 40 something birds right now to take care of as far as the chickens, the geese, and the ducks go. And then we've got the 2 pigs. Those are a job in of themselves. The 2 dogs are a job in and of themselves. And then the cleanup on the homestead, and then trying to build a kiosk up front for the eggs, things like that. Um, it is it's just work after work, and then the artwork that happens. You know the feeling, Jackie. You I know you work hard, 100%. Um, because I know you like to hustle, and that's what makes you a great person. You love the hustle, you love the game, and you getting the word out on your social medias and things like that. The fun times, the hard times. You've been through it all. You've been through some shit, you know. And kudos to you for keeping your head up and moving forward, with life. Because there could have been a time that you didn't want to, like me. After my son died, I was done. You know, I there was many a times that I wanted to check out. You know, and so, but I didn't. That's a testament to us both, I guess. To keep moving forward, keeping our head high and squashing the pain. You know, so, but I'm glad to have you as a friend. You're pretty awesome. We need to catch up some more. You know, and get back to our talks. I am my daddy's child. Hustle queen, yeah. Life is beautiful. God is good, no matter what. Absolutely, 100%. So, but yeah, no, you keep that hustle going, just like I'm doing the hustle over here between artwork and selling comic books, and pretty soon it'll be selling crystals off. from our crystal digs that we've done because we've got way too many. I just cleared a whole shelf in the kitchen area, dining room area of crystals, you know. And if you know anybody that's looking for some crystals, let me know. I've got shelf pieces. I've got, the pieces they can turn into necklaces or jewelry or whatever. Let me know. We've got all kinds of price points because we've got boulders out there and we've got all the way stuff down to, the teeniest, tiniest portions that are in jars right now. So just let me know. But that's it for today, folks. I appreciate everybody stopping in, checking out the channel. And for those of you new here, what we do is we talk about horror movies, sci-fi movies. We talk about real life stuff. We talk about comic books, comic book artwork, my comic book artwork. We talk to old friends, and she's not old, trust me. She's a young buck. She's not a buck either, folks. Just she's people. You guys are too sensitive out there. Just like AI is way too sensitive, and we can't talk about mental health awareness type situations without getting a restriction. Um, so you all have a great day, and as we say, as we leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.